Emotions are powerful, but only when you master them, not when they master you. The strongest relationships aren't built on feelings, they're built on control of them. And love doesn't fail from a lack of passion, it fails when emotions run the show. Welcome to Unbreakable. Hey, good morning and welcome to Unbreakable. Hey, we up early this morning and hopefully we want to be able to start out with some tools to think about as you go through your day, some different things to consider and to be able to elevate and take yourself to a whole nother level to become unbreakable. And so emotional control is a very big thing. I kind of see a lot of people letting their emotions run them to the point where they will share their feelings no matter who it hurts, no matter who hears them, just as long as they get theirs off. And it's kind of disturbing because when that is an operating system, that's just a representation that there is probably higher levels that you want to get to that you're not able to get to. And that is probably the number one thing that's keeping you from operating and getting to the next level. And so the E in Unbreakable is really about emotional control. It's about keeping cool when the stakes are high, when somebody has a different opinion than you, when someone does something totally different than you, or just because somebody disagrees with you doesn't mean that you can emotionally blow up. I mean, you can, but it doesn't get you the results that you want. And so, coaching point number one would actually be to respond, not react. And so I thought I would just kind of look up the difference and give you a definition of the difference between responding and reacting because it is super important. It is the number one tool that keeps people from having the type of relationships they want. So then they react and they accept all of the messiness and all of the garbage and try to make it in a normal way. But you don't feel good. You only feel good for a short moment in order to be able to do that. And so I'm going to look this definition up real quick here, see if I can pull it up. I think I've been kind of, as I've been watching, scouting, coaching, talking with other coaches, talking with other people, watching the social media channels, watching the thing that actually people are going through, it really is an emotional level that they're not mastering. That's kind of keeping them in the way of things that they want to be able to do. And so I'm trying to make sure I get this together here for you. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up on Perplexity. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I've pulled up Perplexity here and I put in the difference between responding and the difference between reacting. And so responding means you've taken a thoughtful, deliberate approach to the situation, while reacting is a quick, instinctive, and often driven by immediate emotions. And so when you react, it's automatic, it's fast, it's out of emotional, and it's usually driven by either fight or flight. So that means either you digging in and you're gonna fight about something, or you're gonna run away from something just because you have some type of emotional response. It tends to lead to escalation of a situation that can lead to regret. Like snapping back out of anger when you're provoked without pausing to think what the situation is about. Now, when you respond, it is an intentional, slower, or it involves pausing to process what's really actually happening before. It draws on consideration, emotional intelligence, and reasoning minds. For example, let me breathe. Maybe it's not that deep. And a lot of times you'll find out it's not you, it's a whole nother situation. And when we tend to get and let heat come out because we upset or we're angry, we tend to damage things and it doesn't really get us the response that we really desired. I had a guy tell me one time in a meeting after I let people know how I felt, let them know what I thought. It was pretty raw. Um, I thought it was done with some class because I didn't act a fool and it wasn't ghetto. But later he told me sometimes people don't receive what you're saying because they're not ready. And did you really get accomplished what you wanted to? And I thought just because I said what I wanted to say and I said what I said, that that was a good thing. But it wasn't until a couple of years later when the same situations continued to happen, I realized my the goal really was to have them to get the message to stop the behavior and stop what they were doing. That's when I understood what that guy said to me. See, when you're delivering a message, you can either deliver the message when the window was open or when the window was closed. If you deliver the message when the window was open, then they'll receive it. But if you deliver a message when the window is closed, you get broken glass everywhere. And now, not only did they not receive it, but now you have broken glass also. And so, work on when your emotions rise, wisdom waits, responding beats reacting every single time. And coaching point number 2 would be master the internal and manage the external. You can't control your partners, your bosses, your coworkers, the dude at the store, somebody driving on the road. You can't control their tone, they mood, they stress, but you can control yours. And successful people really know that. And even when you talk about couples or business partnerships, they know that in order to be able to control what you're doing, you want a positive outcome. You can't just blow up. You want to be able to match the intensity level by managing the energy. And so when I was a trainer for nonviolent crisis prevention, if a client's energy was up here and it was all high and they're fighting mad and cussing people out, you want to come with a low energy so that you can bring it down. Because if you match their energy, it only escalates the situation even more and it turns out into a war when your whole goal is you want to bring it down. So the higher they get, the lower you get. That's how you balance it and level their stuff out. And when you're in a romantic relationship, don't match a person's intensity with their intensity, match it with a lower intensity, and that will help pull the relationship to a stable ground. And that's something you want to make sure that you're doing. And then you want to make sure that you practice after something blows up like that. You really want to start tracking what happened, why did I feel that way, Why was I able to match their energy? Because when you can control your own emotions, you can regulate a whole lot of successful stuff. You can make a whole lot of successful stuff manifest. But when you let other people get you off your square and they can just get under your skin, that's usually a situation or a sign that you have some stuff that you need to work on within yourself. And then in order for you to be able to regulate that type of emotion and dealing with your partner, you need to really focus on what that is about you. And strong relationships, they're not built on by perfect people. None of us are perfect, but by people who stay steady under pressure. That's where the strong relationship begins to be built. That's where trust begins to be built. But a lot of people don't know how to regulate their emotions. And that's why you need coaching. That's why you need some training. That's why you need some different skill sets in order to be help you to be able to manage that. Now, tomorrow, I'm gonna have a special guest on, Dr. Janet, and she's going to be talking about imposter syndrome and how being resilient has really helped people, but they don't know how to be resilient. And a lot of us don't know how to be resilient. I mean, as a sports, somebody that's an athlete, when you get knocked down, you got to get back up. You get knocked down, you bang all day, you bang at practice all week long, then you got a game. Your body is sore, but you keep getting up, you keep getting back up. Now, people that haven't been involved in sports, you may not have learned how to have that, how to have that practice on how to constantly go through. So when something bothers you, it really bothers you because you don't have the repetition in. And I just want to encourage you to stay the course and to actually practice. And the way you practice that is by journaling your emotion. It is about learning about how you're wired. It is about seeing what you did every day and doing your own film study on what you could have done better. It's about getting prepared on Friday for next week and reviewing what you did. It's about collecting your wins, your three big wins for the week, and it's about being grateful for the small things that you've done. There's so much to do in order to be able to respond in a positive way, and that's what being unbreakable is about. And we're going to continue to be here. We want to be part of a positive voice that helps build people and not have people choose the way that they just feel or the way they just want to blurt out and then have negative consequences at it, which they probably don't feel it as a negative consequence because they said what they said and that's all they wanted to do. But yet it's still not getting them the results that they want. So it's just something you may want to consider. And coaching point number 3, don't let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Um, I'm gonna say that one more time. Don't let temporary emotions make permanent decisions, because sometimes what'll end up happening is just because we mad at this moment, we'll say something or we'll do something, and then we've got these long-term effects that will end up happening to us. Anger, frustration, and hurt, they're real, but they aren't always reliable. So if you're in a romantic relationship, couples who learn to wait until emotions cool off before making a comment or a judgment or ultimatums usually come out better, and they are able to create a different perspective when things cool off. Because I'm going to tell you, the enemy only wants to destroy your peace, steal your joy, and keep you from effectively partnering with somebody so that you can have more. Look, e- effectively partnering with the wrong people, or three, four, five, six people in a relationship, that's only going to be a temporary emotion, a temporary pleasure, a temporary high just for that moment. But guess what? You'll be seeking the next high. And that's just because you have not been able to control your emotions. It is work, but you're gonna have to work either way it go. So why not work on the positive side that's gonna get you positive results versus working on something that's gonna get you a temporary high and then it's gonna go away and then you'll be searching for something else that could possibly get you hurt emotions, or hardened heart. And just remember, feelings are signals, not not dictators. Don't let your feelings dictate what you do, how you think, how you move, and how you act. Let wisdom lead, not your moods. And remember, just because you get knocked down doesn't mean you have to stay down. What you do before a storm and what you do after a storm always determines whether you stay broke or whether you're going to be unbreakable. Hey, that's my time this morning, y'all.